name is Clea Duvall. I am the director of Happiest season, and I'm here with the phenomenal cast of that film for the SAG Awards Q&A. I'm going to go around and introduce everybody. We have Mackenzie Davis, Kristen Stewart, Alison Brie, Aubrey Plaza, Mary Steenburgen, Mary Holland, Dan Levy, and again, I'm Clea Duvall, but I'm not in this movie. All right, well, let's just jump in. Guys, I think I can speak for all of us when I say this film meant a lot and was really fun. And it's been really amazing to see how warmly people have received it. But what does it mean to you guys to be a part of a project that's getting this kind of enthusiastic response? Kristen, let's start with you.
I had such a good time on this. And I think that what makes the movie good is that, you know, that was visible versus we had such a good time on a movie that ultimately took a lot of work to make look like something else. It doesn't feel like such a group experience when other people enjoy it. You're like, how could you even relate to this? That was my experience. That had nothing to do with you. So in this case, because I had such a nice time on this movie, and I'm so proud of everyone, and I loved them so much. I feel like all of a sudden, people are in my living room, and it feels good. It's really nice. Yeah.
I had a blast shooting this movie, and the response to it is it's delightful. It's honestly, it was the right time for this movie. We needed this. This year has been so weird, and I think everyone, it was a big exhale when it came out. The fact that it was the first gay Christmas rom-com mainstream movie, it's about time, and it all kind of came together in a really great way.
It's just been so moving to see that kind of response, because we knew when we were making it, we were having such a great time with it, and we were laughing so much, and it's such a funny movie, but it also has such an impact, and it's been really cool to see that.
And I think, for me, I have gone on the Twitter occasionally and looked at some of the responses from people. People have come out of the closet to their families because of this movie. Mm-hmm. And I think when you put something out there that is so well-intentioned and represents a cross-section of life that a lot of people don't get to see on screen, you embolden people to feel more comfortable in their own skin, more passionate about who they are, and more inspired about who they want to be. And I think that's what this movie has done for people. And that's certainly what lured me into this whole beautiful thing in the first place. And what I think has just been so beautifully executed kind of as it was made and then as it was put out to people. So I think to be a part of something that, whether it was intentional or not, has changed conversations in people's lives and shifted culture in a really special way. That's it for me.
So much of the time when, LGBTQIA plus characters are featured in films, it feels like that person is sort of an anomaly existing in a straight world. But in the real world, queer people surround themselves with other queer people. And this story challenges that model because there are, it features the dynamics of 4 queer people in Abby, Harper, Riley, and John. Can you talk about what that was like? And do you feel like that changed the dynamic on set at all?
It was invigorating and so liberating to be so authentic and also kind of in the center of things. It was definitely not, typical, and it was so nice. So
that is a great answer. Aren't you glad that I didn't let Alison talk? And that was
I'm also glad about it.
But Alison, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
You play a character who is very unlike you, so much to the point where when I saw you in real life, I was like, wow, you're so cool. You're like, yeah, I'm an actor, idiot.
You did say that.
Your character is a lot more complicated than she first appears on the surface when we meet her. But were there any moments in the script that surprised you? And if so, how did you navigate that?
Well, I really can empathize with Sloane as a character. And it's something, it's how I approach every character I play, is to not judge them and kind of try to see the world through their eyes and what they're going through. And I think what you did such a great job at weaving into this character in the writing and also in the editing. I think when I finally watched it, I was like, oh, wow, you caught these little moments that really come through, which are that Sloane grew up in the same household that Harper grew up in. And, as Harper talks about that their love from their parents was conditional, that's the same for Sloane. I think what I find really interesting about her as a character is she has made this career change, but she still is actually very successful at what she does, but it just gleans no respect from her family. So like I was sort of pleasantly surprised to see in the final cut all the little moments where you do get to kind of see Sloane pushed aside by her family in a way that just sort of shows really what the dynamic is with them. And I think it helps some people to to sympathize with her a little more and realize that she is a complex human being and not just a villain.
Mary S., have you seen, like in recent years, do you feel that the scripts that are coming your way are more inclusive? Just like, are you seeing different kinds of stories in recent years?
I do a television show, Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, that has trans characters and gay characters. And so I feel like that's the other thing I've been working on. So in that sense, I do feel like there's improvement, but I don't think the thing that was so beautiful about this, and Kristen said it perfectly, but from the point of view of the so-called straight actors, that it was for us a relief too, because we have worked with friends that are gay that are playing straight and know that that's like not the most optimum fun way always to, not that it can't occur, but it's not necessarily the most fun thing for them, or to be to just have a character that really explores more fully who they are. And so I think for all of us on this set, regardless of who you love, we all were so in love with each other. The fact that there was such joy and authenticity in each character. And, I mean, I know some people think probably ill of my character, but I loved her so much. And I can imagine, I can think about her in a million different situations, and it just makes me smile. And I haven't answered your question, and by now I've forgotten it.
No, that's fine. I think what you said is so beautiful and better than I don't remember the question either. So thank you. Dan, you have some of the funniest moments of the film, but you also have one of the most emotional scenes. Can you talk about how you struck the balance? Was that challenging?
Well, no, because I think what I liked about this character and who he represented to Abby in the movie was that he was someone who was going to be a pillar of support in a way that a lot of my closest gay friends who I consider to be family have been for me. And I think when you go through something, when you are a queer person, those friends become family in very formative ways, because you're going through an experience that is not necessarily what everyone else is going through. And so for me, it was really important to ground their relationship in that kind of familiarity that I have with close friends in my life who have played really formative and like helpful roles as I have navigated my path. And those are the most colorful characters in my life. And yet at the same time, they do know when to draw the line between when to have fun and when to be the person who's going to lift the spirits in the room, and when to actually acknowledge that there is something substantial to be said. And those are also the people that don't let you get away with that much as well. So I think the minute that I like Kristen and I met, I sort of had an idea of who this person was, but I really wanted it to feel the kind of spontaneity of what Kristen was doing, so that I could kind of counteract as like almost the opposite to Abby. He is like this person that's like constantly sort of bubbling around, talking about, I don't even know what we were talking about when we went into that ring store, but something about Ultra Suede.
Ultra Suede.
Ultra Suede.
To me, this is a character that it's a character that I know, and it's a character that I have. It's someone that I have in my life. So it was very easy to know when to ride that line. And the dialogue was lovely, and you just gave me such wonderful things to say.
Mary H., you play the character of Jane. What was your favorite improvised line that either did or did not make it into the film? Line or a moment?
I feel like the scenes that we filmed where we were all in the kitchen were so much fun. I think we had so much fun. All the women in the family and Kristen being there and sort of like witnessing this incredibly tense moment. I think I love that we had so many scenes in the kitchen, because kitchens with families during the holidays, it's such a hectic place. And I thought that Clea, you did such a great job of capturing that kind of like the little bickering, the tiny little fights or little like moments of people being annoyed. And one of my favorites was when in the cookie decorating scene, had so much fun trying to help Alison, and she didn't want the help. And then also trying to help Mary. And then the moment, I feel like Tipper and Jane just had a really special dynamic where
Amazing.
Tipper just truly didn't understand. She just doesn't understand Jane. And so there were so many takes that we would do of that scene where I would like try to ice the cookies when they just came out of the oven, and Mary would be like, you can't, they're too hot. You can't ice them right now. It will melt, Jane. Like all these great moments with
That is
Mary.
true. That is true. How is that wrong on my part?
I mean,
To be
sense.
perfectly honest, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never ice straight out of the
You
oven.
should be able
Thank
to,
you,
I
Jen.
guess,
Second. Yeah.
where I come from, from my point of view, you should be able to ice a cookie whenever you want.
Not at all.
I do want to say, but Mary, I'm glad you said the cookie decorating scene, because I feel like you all had us dying laughing. And my favorite thing from that scene that didn't, at least not in its full effect, make it in the movie, is when you started to say Mary's lines at the same time as her. And I'm sure it didn't make it in because we all were just laughing. She'd be like, we need to take, and you're the photo. And we all were like,
4 o'clock. Yeah, that was fun. It was so fun to really be in Jane's shoes as she was desperately trying to help Tipper and anybody else around her. So yeah, that was a fun moment.
Aubrey,
Yes.
your character is quite popular. I don't know if you're aware. What went through your mind when you were reading the script and preparing to play Riley? And did you think that you would get this kind of response from audiences?
And why? Why did you do it? Come at me, bro. I just honestly, it was so exciting for me to play a character that was mentally stable. I honestly think that that's mostly the reaction. I think people just aren't used to seeing me play a character that is that doesn't have addiction problems and that is just mentally like cool. I think that mostly in the past, my whole life, I just usually play very low status characters that are that have mental problems. So I've just been in that zone for a while, and I think that people are they just weren't ready for just the normal me.
Yeah.
Because I honestly felt like, yes, Riley was a doctor and I was very excited to play a doctor. I'm sad that I didn't get to like have a scene where I was in scrubs or whatever, but there were a lot of things about the character that I was just very that I was very excited about, because I was like, I'm not crazy, I'm normal, and they're the crazy ones.
I can't wait to do it.
What have I done? I killed her.
That's not what I meant at all, but I love that that's what you thought it would be. It's like after you wash your hands.
Yeah.
What have I done?
Kristen and Mackenzie, did you encounter any challenges, or did you get any interesting insights when prepping to play your characters?
Well, I learned so much from your costuming process, and how specific you were about who Abby needed to be.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Whites. It's now whites, everybody. Oh, I forgot to button my shirt up.
Are we taking our clothes off?
I have nothing on under this, but I'm game. I am game.
It's whites from now on.
Let's do it.
Is this what this is? Guys.
No, when you were putting your costume together, you were so specific about who this person was at this time in her life, where she didn't have to hide who she was, where her clothing was, both a product of and a freedom from like an intense amount of analysis and thought that went into articulating her identity when she was younger, when she wasn't out, when she first came out, and trying to be like, well, what kind of lesbian am I now? And it not being this. That's how you pronounce it. That's all over the internet. But yeah, just like a level of sensitivity and thought that I wasn't aware of, before we started making the movie together, about what this experience would be like, being thrust back into a closet, or just having to like compromise at all on how out you are, when the like full embrace of being out is such a huge monumental achievement over, the development of your life and your identity.
Mackenzie, that was something that was really tough. Just you saying that made me think about when we were trying to figure out your costumes and your character, because it's so, we only meet you as you are for one script day. And then it's like the entire rest of the movie is just this altered version that's like, it was really hard.
It was hard. I like loved the idea that I, went home and each day slowly became like more a facsimile of Tipper, in dress and makeup and hair. And I just thought it was like brilliant until Riley's first day, and she showed up in the sexiest fucking dress and boots I've ever seen at the party. And I was like, it's a lace no sleeve high neck.
Yeah, there's no way to prepare for it. I saw the clothes on the rack before Aubrey got there and before her fitting, and I was like, oh, we'll see. And then I saw the photos and I was like, what, how is this happening?
You go back home and you think you can do like when you feel called out by a person, that speaks to the way the character is written, where your character is, and also the fact that you're both present and honest, cool actors. Like, it's really good that you felt that way. You're embarrassed. Yeah. You're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. It was. I did feel embarrassed. But luckily, nobody noticed that.
If there were to be a sequel, what storyline, like where would you want your characters to go?
I want to be in surgery I want someone life pending on me.
Listen him.
I want to save someone's life. Is that too much to ask?
Okay.
I would like to not suddenly become nice to everyone. I'd like to keep up what I've started, and I would like to be the world's most annoying pride mother. Like, take it way too far.
Oh, I love that.
Like, I liked you better when you didn't realize I was gay.
Yeah.
And it's all about Harper organizing Pittsburgh or her town's pride parade, and she's in charge of it all.
And it's too much.
I like it.
I would love it if Jane went on The Bachelorette. I think that would be great. I think that'd be great.
For me, I envision in the sequel that Abby or Harper is pregnant, and then Sloane gets to channel her energy, Father of the Bride 2 style, into like now she's a good, sort of along the lines of what Mary was saying, where like now she is a better sister, but now her psycho energy is kind of like into like micromanaging their pregnancy and making everything perfect, and she's gonna like be their doula. And so, yeah.
Couldn't have asked for a better, more special group of people. And I love you all so much.
We love you.
And that's,
I love you all too. I really love you all so much.
I know.
Guys. I really all a lot.
And Mary, and all of you for your beautiful performances. I love the movie so much.
okay, well, thank you guys so much for being a part of this Q&A, and thank you to everyone, all you SAG members for watching. If you haven't seen the film Happiest Season, it is on Hulu right now. Go watch it if you would like. All these people are phenomenal in it, and thank you everybody for your time today.